Hi, this is Nancy, and I'm with Hmong TV. Have any questions about debt or bankruptcy? Do you have harassing calls and collections? We have Edward Russell, a bankruptcy attorney, here in the office today. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Edward, a lot of people have questions on what bankruptcy is. Can you explain to us what bankruptcy is?
Well, bankruptcy, it can be a powerful tool to help get out of debt, to get a fresh start, and to begin your life anew without the old debt. The process takes about 3 months if you do a Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is named after the chapter in the Bankruptcy Code. Good for credit card type of debt. As I say, the process takes about 3 months. The other is the Chapter 13. Those are the two options for consumers. And the Chapter 13 is good where somebody has a car or a house, something like that, and they owe back payments. They can make up the back payments over the life of the plan. And the life of the plan is about 3 to 5 years. And we would determine what would be comfortable as far as a monthly amount to pay. But that would be successful in eliminating a lot of credit card type of debt too. And a bankruptcy will provide an automatic stay or stop against all creditors' actions. It will stop foreclosures, stop garnishments, that is taking money from your pay. And if there's been any judgments, it will stop those judgments and make them null and void. If there has been any monies taken from your pay by the way of garnishments or any monies taken from a bank account, within 3 months of filing the bankruptcy, and that amount is over $600, you can get that back. That's part of the process. The process that I work on is that I meet with people the first time and get the information. And then about a week later, we get together again, and I can give a hard copy printout at that time, make sure everything is right, and then we can file, assuming that you satisfy the pre-filing condition that you obtain a credit counseling certificate, which we will help you with too. That takes about an hour on the telephone or internet is probably the best way of doing it. Might add that before you get your discharge, you would have to get a second certificate, which is an education process. It's some questions about finances and all. It takes about 2 hours, and we help with that too.
Okay. So, why do people file for bankruptcy? What kind of people? How do people get there?
Well, people who are in debt file bankruptcy. That's the main purpose, is to discharge or get rid of debt and get a new life. And as I said, the two types provide may be different reasons for choosing either the Chapter 7 or 13. Chapter 7 is good for the credit card type of debt where you want to get rid of that. Chapter 13 will help you to keep your house or your car, and you can make up back payments over the life of a plan. And as I say, we would make sure that the plan is comfortable for you. You'd have to look at the income and expense and then determine what would be good as far as a monthly amount goes.
So a lot of these people that get into this kind of debt, they usually have divorce or loss of job or loss of business.
Well, yeah, those are the reasons, of course, people get into financial difficulties. Loss of job, or being underemployed, or divorce, of course, or sickness, naturally, inability to work. Those are the reasons people do get into financial difficulties. And that's what bankruptcy is for, to provide a solution for people who are being overwhelmed by debt.
Well, that's great that we're in the United States, that we have that option, because you never know when something's going to happen. I've met some people that are really prepared, and then something happens, and you don't have any other option but to, seek other
Yes.
other advice on trying to get your life back, getting a fresh
Yes.
start again?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit about the process when filing bankruptcy. You said that they just contact you and get a consultation. At the initial consultation, should they bring any documents?
Well, I don't charge anything for an initial consultation. It's only if you want to go forward, and then I charge. Yeah, actually, for the first meeting, it would be helpful to bring along at least one pay slip.
Okay.
If you could bring along 2 months of pay slips, that would be even better, because that would have to be filed with the court if you were going to file.
Okay. How much does it cost?
Well, as far as money goes, I usually talk about that when we meet. Basically, for either one, we need probably around $800 to start, and then the rest can be paid over, well, with a Chapter 7, can be paid over a month and a half. Seems to work out pretty well. The Chapter 13, we do have the luxury of providing for payments for the attorney.
They're probably afraid, embarrassed, ashamed, lost, confused, frustrated, thinking about, is this the right choice I want to make? Because bankruptcies stay on your record for 10 years, correct? So what do you have that you can tell them so that they can feel a little bit more comfortable with the idea?
Well, I guess the main thing is to just come in and talk. I don't charge anything for the first consultation, anyway. But that's, I mean, education is what they need, because they've probably never done it before, never heard of anything about it. But that's why we meet, for the first time. And, hopefully they'll be more comfortable. At least they'll know their possibility. As far as your credit score goes, when you're not paying your bills on time, your credit score is going to go down. Which is probably the case with people who are thinking of doing bankruptcy. And then after you file bankruptcy, your old bills are gone. So you're going to be paying the new bills on time. The credit score should go up.
Okay. Okay. I've heard also from other people that have done it, started getting credit card offers immediately, like 6 months after. So I was surprised to hear that. And
they love to have you back.
yeah.
They love it.
Yeah.
They don't let you go away.
Sure.
Oh, no.
Well, that's very common that they'll have I mean, even the day you file bankruptcy,
Yeah.
probably get some, at least, well, it's just credit is a little tighter now, but a few years ago, you'd get several, just every week you'd get 3 or 4 anyway, offers to get credit cards.
So there's really nothing to be afraid of when considering filing bankruptcy. All it takes is to meet with a bankruptcy attorney with a free consultation. If you have any questions, they are willing to answer that for you. And Edward Russell is a bankruptcy attorney here in St. Paul, Minnesota. And if you need any help with translation in Hmong, we can also help you with that. So
I might just add that the bankruptcy code provides for exemptions for your assets. There's definite exemptions for a home, for a car, and of course household furnishings, wearing apparel. In general, people will have no problem keeping their assets unless you've got a lot of assets. But in general, 90% of the people I meet have no problem keeping all of their assets. Might add that the debts that would not be dischargeable in general are taxes that are newer than 3 years of age, student loans, or domestic support obligations like child support. Just about everything else would be dischargeable. Bankruptcy will stop foreclosures too. I don't know if I mentioned that.
okay.
And at least give you a chance to think about things before the bank can succeed in taking the house. And if there has been no sheriff's sale is part of a foreclosure. It usually happens about 2 or 3 months after the beginning of the foreclosure. If there has been no sheriff's sale, then Chapter 13 would be successful in stopping the foreclosure permanently, and you could be making up those back payments over the life of the plan.
Okay. So if anyone finds himself near getting foreclosure on it, it's definitely a good idea to meet with a bankruptcy attorney to see how
Yes.
they can help on that. The other question I
Sure.
have is, there's a lot of people that work at jobs for a long time where they have retirement accounts. And is that something, what do you suggest? A lot of people, when they're trying to catch up on debt or trying to stay out of debt or from trying to even have to file bankruptcy, they might reach into their retirement money to pay off the debt. What do you have to say about that?
Well, as far as bankruptcy processing or planning, I should say, it's probably not a good idea to do that. The retirement accounts are pretty much exempt. Even individual retirement accounts in a bank are exempt up to about $1 million. And the monies that you have, like on a 403B, whatever, 401K, they would not even come under the bankruptcy estate, so you automatically keep those because you can't reach those, because so the law provides that they would not even be part of the estate, so you wouldn't even have to exempt those.
Okay, so then those money are not included in any garnishments. Those can never be garnished then for debt as well?
Well, no, they wouldn't be part of a garnishment, no. But a lot of times people will borrow, on their retirement account at work, or they'll take money from their individual retirement account, and pay. But you probably should avoid doing that if you think you're going to be doing a bankruptcy, because those monies are pretty much protected, I say, even up to about $1 million.
Okay. Then why do that when you have this option? If you are, suffering collections and your credit, and you're about to lose your house, you might as well save your nest egg for retirement if you could.
Yeah, that would be definitely true. Do not take money from a retirement account if you're planning on doing bankruptcy, because that's exactly the opposite of what you want to do.
Okay.
To start a new life,
Yeah, so bankruptcy is another option on starting a new life. If you have found yourself in collections, creditors, losing your home, your car, from suffering divorce, loss of job, or sickness, and you feel frustrated and you have nowhere to go to, we, with Edward Russell, advise you to talk to a bankruptcy attorney to see if that is an option that would work out for you.
Bankruptcy internet airport ko dia kono ya ikha ke to ti lu te England to kho samai da ma cho ning mo mon gen la chi mo lu wa je yu chon nu chon ke dao je la mo cho ning no cha je mo ka yu du mo la yu du wo chi tao la yu chen to ka thia ma yari na te chi mo kha or bankruptcy no.
Well, I know it's only natural to want to be able to pay your debts. If you got the money or the credit, then you should pay for it. Of course, we all understand that. But there are circumstances where you just cannot pay the money back. And if you're being overwhelmed by creditors' actions, if they're taking money from your wages or your bank accounts, you cannot live like that. Or, of course, if they're calling you on the telephone, and all, which they would, of course, and sending letters, the pressure can be overwhelming.
Just tell the police to deliver the letter to you and make the family scared, and those things, the bankruptcy can take over all those headaches, right?
Well, if they are getting calls like that or letters, yes, it would be better. It would be good to talk with a bankruptcy attorney and find out what you can do. It certainly doesn't mean you're a bad person because you're being overwhelmed by debt, because there are a lot of reasons people get into debt: sickness, disease, divorce, loss of job, and that doesn't have anything to do with your moral nature.
A lot of my Hmong people, we have a lot of divorce because we own too much bill and we cannot talk good. The husband and the wife keep fighting. That's why create the divorce a lot of Hmong family. Because Hmong family, we scared to do bankruptcy. We thought maybe
Well, it
it's
seems
not
like
good.
your whole life is out of control. That's part of the credit counseling certificate process that you look at. That's one of the things they mentioned. And there is the possibility of finding that solution in bankruptcy. And you should look into it to see if it would work.
Yeah. Next city chăm mong phong như cô yêu hay là mong sợ trở trở đó họ cô yêu chỉ sai exactly thế gì cô hai đứa nữa thì bây giờ mong mà giờ cho và nên nó mong nó mong cái nó đau thì bây giờ chỉ chơi bây cô chỉ sai sử dụng rồi đó họ giờ dùng đến bao nhiêu đó thì chỉ mua ít họ về là ít cái tờ rồi dùng thì dùng cho lúc dùng từ bao nhiêu một từ dùng lúc từ chỉ một từ nó là chọn cái nó đau thì dù chế là mỗi sự chế sinh đâu chế nhà là kia nhà但是嘛地考就弄个开始只地考的有点人就是年嘛被也就几年唔知一度个里超里RUSSEL 那呢也一度老呢也一度个里超让个里个到包呢嘛被上呢你也一度让也那样子么这个有些让让超么有路 family 不chế被từ mua khó bankruptcy nó có ba ni có ni bự tàu rong thế sau một cái lúc family thua số mua tiền nông cái thế để không và cũng chế rồi để chế để ôn nó chụp bao chế làm được khó và bankruptcy nó chỉ sau muaอยู่chế ni chụp bao chế đầu rồi bây giờ mong mà bây số mua bây giờ bao nhiêu thì cho bây giờ bao chế bây chỉ cho nên nông cái khó nó khó cũng bỏ I try to explain that we should don't throw our family away. We should keep the family and throw those debt away. So that's why you guys, the attorney, to help to throw the debt away and save the family, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And start a new life.
You should look into it anyway and see
Okay.
if
Thank
it's
you.
going to work.
Anthony
Okay.
Russell, and we
Thank
hope
you.
that the Hmong family will join us.
Okay.